It started for me in 1997. I met somebody at an exhibition in Manchester, and it was one of those situations where you set eyes on someone and there's a connection. This was a very deep connection. It wasn't particularly physical. It was indescribable, really. Couldn't really describe what it was, but it forged a connection of a metaphysical kind. Very quickly, it became apparent that I was listening to conversations in my head. Now, at this point, some of you might throw up your hands in horror and throw all kinds of labels at me, and believe me, my doctor did. Anyway, having said that, it lasted for some time, this conversational hearing stuff. And the first entity to come through, and I call them entities because I've never been quite sure what they were or are. The first entity to come through, his name was Vittorio, and he taught me a lot about the stability of life, things to do with the way in which we should ideally live, and the way in which we should ideally feel about the way we live. So that was the groundwork. His lessons were extremely valuable. Then, sometime later, another entity jumped into the fray, and his name was Roberto. Roberto was a totally different kettle of fish to the gentle, priest-like Vittorio. Roberto, let's just say he was a whole new can of worms. And it was he who introduced me to quantum mechanics. I would be woken up at 6 o'clock in the morning, every morning, dumped in front of the computer, and told what to look up. And the very first thing that I was told to look up was quarks. So I have no history of science, and therefore I had never heard of quarks. So anyway, dutifully, I looked up quarks, and things started to become apparent when I'd looked up electrons and various other things. And the lessons go on in this kind of style format. And I'm attentive, I'm listening, I'm understanding, but at the same time, I'm losing track of the grounding of reality. It's very difficult to live in two states of reality at the same time, as I discovered. I spent the best part of 3 months shut away in a room on my own, basically not eating anything and getting very confused about what was happening with my technology and my brain. 5 years of very strange metaphysical interference that proved to me the existence of dimensions. As far as dimensions are concerned, this was proof positive to me that I was being taught the basic rudiments of quantum mechanics from another dimension. This is my phone from that era. So by the time we hit the millennium, I had one of these. I loved this phone. I loved this phone. In 2004, I qualified as a life coach. I was getting to understand the premise, the reason why I was being shown this stuff, why I was being taught these things, was because there's a correlation between quantum mechanics and human existence. There was no interest in the quantum world at this time at all. So I was very much on my own in a very weird sea, floating as best I could and following a trail of sorts into territory that I didn't understand, and being led by things that I couldn't see. But anyway, I took the life coaching course, took 2 years, from 2002 to 2004. I qualified in 2004. And in that time, I was delivering a course based on these principles that I'd learned to Chorus Steel at Corby. It came from nowhere. I was just guided to go and walk into this steelworks and present myself, and the guy I presented myself to happened to be the right person who could make the decision, and he said to me, "Kath, if you can do anything with a slitting plant, you can do anything." This was a group of steelworkers who were very set in their ways and had been consistently underperforming, and generally written off as a bad lot. And there are around about 30 of them. Okay, hardened steelworkers, 30 of them. Yep, okay, I'm going to take this on because this is where I've been led, this is where I've been driven to be, and I'm going to do it. So I deliver this course. 3 years later, I'm happening by Corby and I drop in to say hi. And I drop in to say hi on exactly the right day. 1,000 lost time injury free days. And the date is March 2005. I don't know why I even walked into the plant on the very day that these mugs had arrived. There they were, sitting in a box in the corner, and I got given one. Lucky me. Nobody told me what had happened. So, these were the years when the conversations in my head slowed up somewhat. Life was getting back to normal. Obviously, I couldn't have delivered a course to Cora Steele had I not been living a normal kind of existence by then. But I was still getting the should we say, the guidelines of what to look up and what to do, how to learn, how to live with this stuff. I was not alone in this track, but there was something there wanting to teach me what was what and wanting to show me how to live it, and therefore how to explain how to live it, presumably one day, eventually, in a day that I couldn't possibly have foreseen. 2008 was a bit of a milestone. I got this very commanding voice: look up neutrinos. What are neutrinos? Never mind what neutrinos are, just look them up. And I found this conference was happening in Italy. It's called Cryadet 2, this conference. And off I went with my tent. And I camped outside the Gran Sasso International Nuclear Facility and attended the Cryadet 2 conference. Attended quite a lot of conferences after Cryadet. Not just neutrino conferences either. 2019 I went to the Strangeness in Quark Matter conference at Bari. Because the WIN conference, the Weak Interaction in Neutrinos conference, banned me. They blocked me from their website, so I couldn't find the information when I'd made the first inquiry. I asked a lot of the wrong questions at these places, okay? I was inclined to come out with stuff that urged thinking outside the box that weren't allowed. So I would find myself on the wrong end of the sharp stick. It was very evident that the physicists that I was talking to didn't want to get into the kind of territory that I was interested in. They didn't want to cross the bridge into the metaphysical zone. It's dangerous for them. Let's face it, they can lose their funding, let alone their credibility. All sorts of horrible things can potentially happen if they take that particular route of stepping outside the box. So they don't. But you can tell in the undercurrent that they'd love to. They would love nothing more than to be able to expand upon what their thoughts are and the processes therein. In 2014, Quantumology was published. The New York Central Library had a waiting list for it, and Quantumology was on the map. The brain is a transducer. It's a mechanism that is open to various interdimensional portals, whether we are aware of it or not, whether we take account of it or not. My particular world line has taken me down this route of exploration, not exactly against my will. I can't say against my better judgment because I wasn't judging anything, but certainly unexpectedly. I didn't expect this. It's just occurred. Now we're in a world where a lot of people are interested in quantum mechanics, Many of the things that I was given to understand and to accept during the course of my journey in the early years have come about. The way in which the construct of reality is beginning to come together is in fact echoing the kind of premises that I was given to adopt in my own mind at that time. If we can live more productively and more successfully by incorporating the science and being able to live the science in a way that is meaningful to us and that gives us more of an opportunity to be fulfilled and happy and positive, then everything that we've done and brought together has meaning and purpose.